how the bar bending schedule is prepared at the project, that is going to be explained in a good way today with our with us, Mr. S.K. Sudarshan. He's a senior person in the construction industry. He is basically having a 30 years of experience on the project management, and he has done major projects uh, in Bangalore. And he worked in big companies like B&B Infra, NCC, Mahindra World City, and Life Spaces. And presently, he is partly working at.
Came better.
Pardon me, sir.
Nothing.
Presently, sir is working with T. Johns Institute of Technology, and he is working in the projects also. You can't see like this multiple talented person who is handling students one side and other side he is handling the projects also. We welcome you, sir, for this webinar, and today students will be getting good insights about the importance of BBS. I don't want to take much time on for this program. For me, anyway, I am there to the end of the program till the end of the program. Sir, you can start your presentation, sir. Thank you on behalf of Prayojana and on behalf of students who came here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Ashok. Good evening, students. I am happy that you are keen to improve your knowledge. So most of the students, they want to enjoy the COVID-19 holidays. Out of that, you are making your time to improve your knowledge. It's very encouraging that so many students are participating to gain additional knowledge. So we should express our deep gratitude to Prayojana, Mr. Ashok, who is helping to share the knowledge. The title itself is knowledge sharing session. So knowledge, as much as we give, that will increases. So if I want to give some knowledge to you, then I should gain that knowledge. No, then that will also automatically increases our knowledge also. So this is one of the good opportunity for us as well as you people. Today we are going to discuss about the BBS, that is the bar bending schedule. This is a very important topic in civil engineering industry. The backbone is steel reinforcement. So concrete and the reinforcement, they are the major constituents. So out of that, today we are going to discuss about the reinforcement. Fundamental things only today we are discussing. Actually, it's a little vast subject. It needs some full-time trainings and do some problems, work out. So it takes its own time to come out full-fledged BBS engineer. So we have to cross a lot of hurdles because, of course, nowadays so many consultants they are improving their drawings, so they are making it very easy to interpret and execute the work. However, we should know the fundamental things. Today, we are making an attempt to teach you students about the BBS. Okay. See now, the material cost in construction industry varies from 55 to 64%. So that is a major cost, as I told earlier. So this is a major cost in construction. So out of the materials, 60-40 generally will take, 40% will go for the labor charges and 60% for the materials. So here it's the range is 55 to 65%. All you know that the projects are costing in terms of 100 crores, 50 crores like that. Out of that, you can imagine the material component. So out of that, concrete and steel reinforcement are major contributors for materials cost in construction. As you know, the structures, the steel and reinforcement, they are the major cost contributors. Other than that, there are so many materials which will be costing, like finishes of materials, plumbing items, so many things are there. But in the structure, the steel reinforced and concrete are the major contributor for the material component. Approximately 20% is the cost of steel component in the structural construction. The outer structure, what I'm telling you, the cost of steel will be 20%. 20% is the cost of the steel reinforcement. Other than that, you will have shuttering, you will have concrete, so many things are there. Okay, generally in structure means we'll consider the base building, framework, plus masonry, plus plastering. Generally, we will add it into the structure cost. All other things will be coming under the finishes cost, like flooring, internal plastering, So many things will, plumbing items, firefighting items, so many things will come in the other costs. So 10% of overall cost of construction will be a reinforcement. 10% approximately. These are all approximates. From project to project, these costs will be varying a bit. But generally, you can consider 10% of the overall cost. This is to huge cost in the project works. So the bar bending schedule plays very important role in the rebar management. See, the many projects are suffering because of the not maintaining proper BBS schedule and reconciliation. Most of the project, if you check up, they will be lagging for the reinforcement reconciliation. Reconciliation means the client will be issuing the reinforcement to the contractor. Developer will be issuing the reinforcement to the contractor. So contractor will be incorporating that into the projects, and for that they have to give account. How they will give the account? They will give the account in the form of BBS. So BBS only is accepted format of incorporation into the project. Since there are a lot of chances of pilferage, misuse, so many things will happen in the projects. So even the wrong BBS will be also a matter. If you wrong scheduling is given to the workers, they will cut the reinforcement in a not required manner, or the not in the required length. So when it entered into the projects, you will see the difference is there. So then that will be rejected. So that will go into scrap. So that if proper BBS is not there, it will not happen. So BBS is a very important aspect to be taken care in the projects. So let us understand why BBS is required. First thing is to make the PRW bills. When you people are entering into the project at the smaller level, the assignments will be given for the QS engineers to make the PRW. What is PRW? PRW means piece rate worker. Means how we will manage the labor in the projects. See, the one method is to give them on wages, means per day some salaries we have to pay them. And another method of making the payment to the laborers is on the quantity basis. If they have done certain tons of work, we will pay fixed rates and give them. So then every time billing time, we should know how much steel work has been done or reinforcement work has been done by a contractor or PRW worker. Then accordingly, the payment will be released for the workers. That is PRW. PRW means piece rate worker. We are giving steel reinforcement work as a piece rate. So per ton, the rates will be given. So every time, every billing time, you need to see how many tons of reinforcement work they have completed. Accordingly, payment will be released. For that, you need the BBS. Without the BBS, you cannot say how many tons of work is done. Then to give working details to the workers. See how much length of the reinforcement should be cut, how it should be bent, what should the shape of the reinforcement. Further, you are going to study those things. So that details will be given to the workers. So accordingly, they will cut it. Generally nowadays, what we are seeing, engineers just they will give the drawing to the foreman or the who is heading the reinforcement bar bending mestri. So they will be giving the drawing and they will ask them to do it. But this is not the correct practice. As an engineer, we should work in details and see how we can minimize. Because what happens if it's given to the workers, the more and more scrap will be generated. The scrap means it is a loss for the company. You should know how to utilize the scraps, where the pieces can be used. All those things are possible. And nowadays you are getting lot of softwares also to make the BBS. So many organizations also there to give the BBS, so that they will assure the wastage of the steel, reinforcement wastage, whatever allowed within that they should be able to manage. Okay, next, to procure steel for a project. We need to procure steel reinforcement. No? How you can understand how many tons of steel is required for this project at what stage? Must have learned already critical path method and scheduling techniques and all those things. In the scheduling techniques, what we will understand, so many tons of steel reinforcement per month we will consider. So per month, so much of steel it is coming from the overall total requirement. Generally, just they will distribute across the schedule time and they will put it. But when it comes to the actual procurement, what diameter of steel is required, when it is required, all those things can be done with the proper BBS only. Without proper BBS, you will face either shortage of the particular diameters or some surplus of the reinforcement at the project. All those things will happen. So to procure steel reinforcement, you need a BBS. Then for client billing, if you are working under the contractor or the contractor need to submit their bill on tonnage basis. One thing first we have discussed about PRW, that is for the workers to make payment. This is for the client billing. Means if you are working with certain contractor, you have to submit the bills. For submitting the bill, steel reinforcement will be a major component. So you have to produce so many tons of work has been done, per ton so much rate is there for the contractor. For that client billing is purpose also you need the PBS. Then to make reconciliation of the client supplied or procured steel, means clients will be supplying reinforcement. In case if the contract is with material or with the reinforcement, then how much steel you have procured and how much you have made the billing, that should be checked. So to make control over the scrap generated or wastage of the steel or pilferage of the steel, as I have discussed in the beginning, this is most important. Either you are working with the client or with the contractor, you should know the reconciliation of the steel. The most projects they will be failed to do this, and they will be facing lot of cash crunch because the clients will be holding that because proper reconciliation is not done. So when the with material the cost is held up for the contractor, so the cash crunch will be there. So to in order to avoid that, you need the proper BBS and proper maintenance of BBS also. Not only doing the BBS, proper maintenance, because the projects will be running over the years. Years together, that will be running from the beginning, from the raft or foundations it will start, and it will enter up to terrace slab level. So till that time, proper management of steel is required, because at the end of the project, if you are sitting across and try to search here and there, it will be very difficult. So that's why the BBS format it is there, that we are going to show you. There you have to mention the even the proper drawing numbers and all those things you need to mention, so that whenever we want, we can take back the drawings and see and explain the persons. Reconciliation very important factor. Even many times the developers will be giving it to the third party to verify the contractor claims. So that's why reconciliation takes a very important. Last and but important point is the to assess the not only last point to assess the wastage of steel or scrap. We have to see that the steel is steel is reinforcement is a costly material. I have to manage it well, so that all the small piece of the steel wherever possible that should be utilized. The steel scrap should be minimum. And even many times when we are having a standard bar length of 12 meters will be the standard bar length. Many times we need to put labs where the things are to be required. They should be also recorded and registered to assess the wastage of steel. This is also.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Hello.
Excuse me, sir. Someone is sharing the screen. Divya ji.
Divya, will you? Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Sir, can you share your screen?
Please share, no?
No, someone has shared their screen. You kindly share your screen. I will pin it.
I am seeing the screen, no?
You are seeing. Audience, what about you?
Yes, sir, it is visible, sir.
Sir, share it.
Yeah. Now it is visible.
Visible, no?
Please proceed.
Okay. So to assess the wastage of the steel scrap, this is important. BBS is important. Let us start with this first standard weight of the rebar. It is a first step. You should know what is the standard weight of the rebar. Steel is a materials which is having a density of 7,800 to 7,850 kgs per cubic meter. That is the weight of the steel per cubic meter. Most of you are aware that how the length of the unit weight of the reinforcement is calculated, d square by 162, where d is in millimeters. If diameter is in millimeters, d square by 162. I think anybody of you must have tried how you will get d square by 162.
Sir, kindly reshare your screen, sir.
Huh?
Kindly reshare your screen, sir.
Reshare.
Yeah.
I will stop and again I will enter.
Yes, sir.
Able to see it now?
Audience?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
Sir, you have to take the present now. On that, your entire screen you share. Someone actually shared their screen. That's why it went off. Now it is coming up.
Yeah.
You minimize this one and show yours. Audience, request not to share your screen. Yesterday also a few people has done this thing and it is affecting the entire program's schedule also.
Okay, now it's visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Proceed, please proceed.
Okay. See, the d square by 162, basically it is coming from the equations. You can try on your own. Try to get the d square by 162. It's quite easy. You should know the density of the steel. Already it's given here 7,800 to 7,850. That is the density of the steel. What you have to do is you have to calculate a volume of a meter length of the reinforcement. The cross-sectional area, that is pi r square or pi d square by 4, into the length is around 1 meter. That's what unit length you have to consider. If you put it into the multiply by the density, you will get the weight of the steel per meter. If you put the d instead of diameter, putting any diameters, you put d only, then you get this equation. You try on your own to get the d square by 162, so that you will remember it forever. D square 162 you can remember for any round bars. By chance, if you are getting any other shape of the bars, you should able to know with the density to calculate the weight of the steel. Suddenly, you people should not get 12 mm square bar. How much weights per meter means you did not struck. What you have to do is just you have to calculate the volume per meter. That is in terms of cubic meter. You have to calculate. Then multiply it with 7,800 or 7,850. You will get the weight per meter. D square 162, most of you people will remember. But if you get into the other skills, maybe tomorrow if you are involved in any projects, you may have to, for window you may need on a square bar, or even for eye sections and all those things. You need not go to the tables to see what is the weight of the steel. Remember 7,850 kgs per cubic meter. So basically you have to calculate how many cubic meters per meter, then automatically you will get into that. Okay, d square by 162, keep it in mind. 8 mm 0.39. As and when you people are involved in the many works, these figures will become by heart for you. Generally up to 16 mm, everybody, most of the people will be utilizing those things, 8, 10, 12, 16, and 20 mm also. Then 25 and 32, little reduce. But of course, with conversion, with conversion with the site and all those things, you will be regular into that. Meanwhile, you remember t square by 162. Many of the interviews and orals, they will ask you. Even interviews, written test, they will give you certain diameter of the steel. If non-availability of the steel is there, how you are going to contribute or rearrange with the so and so available reinforcement. That time you can use this d square by 162 formula and make equivalent cross-sectional area, so that you will get into the answer properly. Many times they will give 20 mm steel is not available. So many things are given in the reinforcement beam. So we want to replace with 16 mm. How you can do that? You can use this per meter. You match the total weight of the steel, then you will get into that answers. Okay. This is how you are going to calculate the per unit weight. Per meter, what is the unit weight? 0.39 kg per meter. All this lastly I have written kg per meter. So 8 mm is 0.39 or 388, sometimes they will use 10 mm 0.615, 12 mm 0.88 kg per meter, and 16 mm 1.58, and 20 mm 2.439. Okay, so try to remember these things, and especially d square 160 remember, so that you can calculate by, even if you forget this per meter weight, whenever the time requires, that time you can calculate it and go ahead. This is very important. Because everywhere in the BBS we need this standard weight per meter. So what are the codal specifications for this we are using is the IS 2502 2502 1963. that will give you the detail of how the reinforcement shapes. Further, we are going to see some slides also, where I am taking directly from IS 8502 showing you. SP34 is the handbook for the steel reinforcement. Go through the SP34. It gives you very good knowledge about the designs of the, even with examples they have given. So many graphs are there, many equations are there, so easy to design the buildings. You need not calculate so much of area and all that. Directly, if you calculate the moments, you will get directly area of cross section and even the number of diameter for by AST. What are the reinforcement, possible reinforcements also, it's given in the SP34. Utilize it. IS 456, I need not tell you peoples, because most of you students are conversant with IS 456. It's a basic for any civil engineer. It gives both concrete as well as the reinforcement details. So then international standard, this is very important. Nowadays, we are trying to compete with so many international level contributions, especially consultants. They are giving the drawings and detailings to the out of country. The Indian standards you cannot give for other countries. No, for that you should utilize the ISO standards. So ISO is the international standard. The 7th SEM or 6th SEM, you people must have studied what is ISO, International Organization for Standardization. So many countries together, they have formed this ISO standards, and if the whatever the codal practice, if you follow ISO standards, then you will be competing with the international competitions, especially consultants. Otherwise, if you are building buildings in India, then IS standards are okay. If you want to make your building to the international standards, you make ISO. Of course, not at your level. In senior levels, they will take this decision whether it will conform to the IS or ISO, because many software companies, when you want to invite them to take the space in your building, they will looking at the ISO standards. If ISO standards are there, those foreign countries are very much interested, especially with HVAC, that is air conditioning systems and all that, because power consumption all this will be with ISO norms, it will be less. So nevertheless, even our buildings also, we can build it to the international standard, not only to the national standard. Okay, next is the rolling margin. See, rolling margin, what is rolling margin? See, in industry where the reinforcement is manufactured, the rebars are manufactured, that will be going through the some orifice or the molten liquid steel. Steel is injected into the some orifice where the diameter 8 mm, 10 mm, 12 mm, like that, whatever the diameters are there, that will be there. Through that, this molten liquid is passed through, get the required diameter. See what happens with the course of time. That orifice or the diameter of that hole through which this molten reinforcement, molten steel is passed, that will get slightly increased. So it means the bar diameter, which is supposed to be exactly 8 mm, for example, 8 mm if you are taking, it may give to 8.1 mm, 8.2 mm, gradually it will increase. Means in the beginning, even though they will keep less than 8 mm, the diameter of the, suppose for 8 mm, you are thinking to manufacture 8 mm. So they will keep little less than 8 mm. Means in the beginning, whatever the reinforcement coming out will be lesser diameter than 8 mm. But as the time passes, as so much of productions are happening, the diameter will be increasing. The whole diameter will increase. So what happens? The steel reinforcement coming out of that hole will be more than 8 mm. Initially, it may be less than 8 mm. As the time goes, it will be increased by little dimensions. So what is the effect of it? Means as the diameter increases, the reinforcement will get overweight. Means there is a standard weight. So as the time passes, the weight of the reinforcement per meter will increase. For the factory peoples, they will be selling the materials by tonnage. So they don't bother much about the how much diameter increased or reduced. because every frequently that they are changing that mold means it will be very costly for them. So that will be having very good materials and that is too much costly. So they will wait for certain time, and that's going beyond certain limits. That time only they are going to change that mold, so that the diameter again it will start from the lesser diameter. So it means we are getting the reinforcement little more than the required diameter or little less than the required diameter. And the standard companies like Tata Steel or Jindal Steel, they will be changing that molds very frequently, so that they will maintain the standards perfectly. But some local manufacturers and all that, they will not change that much frequently. So the many times the diameter of the steel reinforcement will be more than the required, or it will be less than the required. So here the thing comes, whatever we are measuring the reinforcement in the site or project, it will be in the length. So the oversized materials will be having less length for the given weight. One standard weight is given. For that, oversized material will be having the length less. And if undersized material is there, the length will be more. See, the IS code, there is a limitations for acceptance. There is a plus or minus. As the diameter is more, the tolerance limits are more. You can see here, this is exactly taken from the IS 1786 1985.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
There, one small dialog box is there in the screen. Stop sharing and hide. You can press that hide so that the people. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
See, this nominal size is the reinforcement diameter. They are very clear about this, up to and including 10 mm. Including 10 mm, the rolling margin is plus or minus 7%. This is for the batch they were given. And individual sample means if one particular sample is less than minus 8, it should be rejected. Okay, individual samples for coils nowadays is not there. We need not worry about that coil. The first part you can concentrate. Plus or minus 7% is up to allowed. Plus means, as I told, up to plus 7% means oversize is up to 7% is accepted, and minus 7% is also accepted for the 10 mm basically 8 mm, 10 mm, these two diameters. And over 10 up and including 16 mm means 12 mm and 16 mm, these two steels we have to limit up to plus or minus 5%. Then over 16 mm, see, you can see the as the diameter increases, the percentage allowed rolling margin is reducing. Diameter more means the precision should be more. See here, one technical requirement also is there. What do you mean by plus? Means the cross-sectional area of the steel is more than the required. Minus means cross-sectional area is less than the required. That's why whenever we are designing our reinforcement, you must be knowing the materials factor of safety. You will be always dividing that by the factor of safety for the materials. Of course, for the steel, the factor of safety is much low compared to the concrete. So that's why you are limiting to minus 7 or plus 7. If it is plus more than that also, it's acceptable for technically, but the loss will be there for the companies who are utilizing the steel, because they are putting more than the required steel. So then they will be going under the loss. Now, how do you calculate that rolling margin? Let us see this. See, rolling margin indicates oversized materials, indicates undersize. Okay, the plus rolling margin indicates, plus sign indicates the oversized materials, and minus size indicates the undersized materials. See, all site drawings measurements are done with the lengths, because in the site, whatever you are measuring, that's the length. Every time you cannot weigh and put it. No, you will be measuring in terms of length, maybe in the slab reinforcement or maybe the column steel. All those things will be measuring in the length, and finally we will be converting into the weight. If you convert into standard weight, that will be differ from the actual weight. That's why you should maintain the rolling margin. The rolling margins are not maintained properly, steel reconciliation may not be easy, or it's not possible also. If the rolling margins are not maintained properly, the steel reconciliation will be very difficult. What is the importance to check that? Just here is one small calculation I have done. If you consider 100 metric tons of 10 mm is received with the plus 7%. Plus 7 is the oversized material. So means the diameter is more than the 10 mm. So the rolling margin actual length received will be less by see the with the standard it should be, it's supposed to be 1,51,964 meters, whereas it's coming 1,62,601 as per the standard weight. As per the standard weight, it should be 1,62,601 meters, and with a plus 7% rolling margin, the actual received length will be 1,51,962. Means there will be shortage of 10,637 meters shortage will be there. For 100 metric tons of steel, there is a shortage of 10,000 running meters if the plus 7% is there. If you don't maintain that records or registers, you cannot give calculation for the 10,637 meters. That is the importance. So that's how it means so much of loss will be there. No, if you don't maintain the, I think recently also I am listening to some projects, they have not maintained the rolling margin registers. So much of shortage of steel will be there like that. Suppose plus is keep on getting the plus rolling margin steels means you are receiving less length of the steel. So the length of the steel you cannot change because whatever is required at the site that you have to put it. Once you put it, if you don't know what is the weight per meter of received steel, then you will be in the soup. So that's why rolling margin is very important. If any project, if you are entering, if by chance if they are not maintaining the rolling margin, please insist on taking the rolling margin. How it is done? It is done just by cutting the sample piece of 1 meter length and weight. It should be weight and it should be checked with the standard weight, whether it's plus than the accepted or minus less than the accepted. So then you have to maintain the register. So many tons of steel is diameter received with the so and so rolling margin. That should be maintained in the proper register. Let us see next topic. We are going to see about the cover. Basic things what I am expecting, I am discussing is later on when you are doing the BBS, you need all these things. Okay, then footings need 75 mm cover. Of course, the situations to situation further we are seeing IS specifications also. The raft foundations we need 50 mm cover at the top, even at the bottom also sometimes they will give 50 mm cover. Then sides definitely they will get 75 mm cover. Aggression will be there. Bottom we are putting the PCC and over that PCC you are putting the reinforcement. So that's why 50 mm cover is accepted in the bottom. But depends, consultants and they will decide how much should be the cover based on the weather condition, soil condition. So many things are there to decide the cover. In the coastal regions, the covers will be different. In Bangalore, the covers will be different. In earthquake zones, something different like that. Various zones will have various cover parameters to be decided. Okay. You have to see whenever you are preparing the PBS, they will be giving a note what are the cover to be followed. That cover only you have to take it into the BBS. Simply you cannot go on the standard like that. You have to see if it's not available, then you can inform to the consultant. This is the covers what I am going to adopt in my project. Columns is a 40 mm. Shear walls and beams they will be having 25 mm cover. Slabs 15 mm, flat slab 20 mm. People should know in the slabs and beams the covers are very important. Columns also, columns from durability consideration, whereas the beams and slabs it is from the design consideration. QBD square means whenever you change the cover, the lever arm will change. So that will be your moment of resistance of the reinforcement or the concrete section will reduce if you change the cover. If you reduce the cover, of course, moment of resistance will be more, but the reinforcement is more exposed to the climatic conditions and it may start getting deteriorated or it may start getting rusted if the less cover is there. On the other hand, if more cover is there, the lever arm will be reduced. That's lever arm. I think you people are understand that. So the lever arm means the center of the steel to the compression zone. That distance will be reduced. So that reduction means the moment of resistance of the concrete sections will reduce. That's why the cover should be maintained properly. Whatever design covers are there, that much you have to follow. That's the importance of the cover, and this is required for your BBS also. Water retaining structure 20 to 30 mm. Generally, it will be more than 20 mm water retaining structures because subjected of corrosions. the water phase side and all those things we have to see. The maximum cover we have to maintain. You can see IS specifications for the cover. For the mild and this is the exposure condition. You can see on the left side the exposure condition. Based on the exposure conditions, the covers are described on the right side. So consultants who are preparing the drawings, they will be evaluating what type of climate our reinforcement are subjected. Accordingly, they will be specifying the cover in the drawings, and you have to follow those drawings. What are the main factors in the bar bending schedule? See the member identification, bar mark, type of steel. Type of steel means what grade of steel that should be also maintained. Generally, in the projects, in order to avoid any confusions, we'll be going ahead with the same grade of steel. Many times there will be confusion if you are getting two grades of steel. There will be confusion in the site. The workers are unskilled workers, or the stocks are maintained properly. If they exchange, the problems will come. So, in order to avoid that, generally we'll go with a similar grade of steel for the entire project. Or sometimes what we'll do, we'll adopt a certain diameter of the steel, certain grade of steel, and certain diameter of the steel, maybe Fe 415, Fe 500. That will adopt. Generally 8mm steel and all that we can go with Fe 415 because generally we will give the minimum steel requirement there. So there we can go with Fe 415. But it's better to practice same grade of steel entire project. Nowadays the rate difference between the Fe 415 and Fe 500 is also not much. Almost Fe 415 is getting outdated. So every project we will use Fe 500, Fe 500D. That is a steel is what we are going to use in the project. However, I have to mention what is the grade of the steel. Then diameter of the bar, you have to mention. You should know length of each bar. Then only you will be able to calculate the weight of the steel what you are going to get. Then number of members. If certain similar beams or similar columns are there, multiples, so you have to mention number of members. Then number of bars in each member. Maybe rings. So many rings are there, like that it will come. Then total number of bars, of course that multiplications will give you that. Total length, shape code, bending dimensions, all these things need to be incorporated in the bar bending schedule. So these are very important things you have to incorporate in the BBS. Let us see the cover. You will be knowing what is effective cover and what is nominal cover. You can see here in the sketch, it's very clearly mentioned what is the nominal cover. The nominal cover is the extreme face of the concrete to the reinforcement. That is called the nominal cover. Effective cover is from center of the main steel to the outer face of the concrete. That's called effective cover. By chance, if effective cover is mentioned, you should calculate for your calculation purpose. How you will calculate, that's mentioned here. Nominal cover plus diameter of the ring plus diameter of bar divided by 2. That will give the effective cover. If they are given effective cover, you should work back what is the nominal cover. Nominal cover is important for our calculation. So if by chance if effective cover is given, so you have to work back the nominal cover. Effective cover is the reinforcement center. A small calculation is given here. Let's check into that how we will calculate the effective cover for a given 20 mm diameter bar. It's a simple calculation. Let us see the what does code says. IS 456. See this. I have captured only 2 here. If you see the code, you'll get many of the shape of the bars and what is the length. Here the columns you can see here. Method of measurement of bending dimensions. How the method should be. Then approximate total length of the bar. It's given in the code book. Measuring along the center line. Then sketch, and this is what the line sketch you have to give. This type of sketches you have to mention in the BBS. On the right side you can see the small line sketch. So that you have to mention in your BBS. That is shape of the ring. Here you can see 2a plus e plus 24 times diameter. See here, important thing what you have to notice is the a is the internal length of the ring. Generally, we'll see that mistake. They will be taking outermost size. It means whatever the column size is there minus nominal cover. If you change, um, you will not get A. Again, diameter of the ring also you have to reduce. Then only you will get the A. You can see here A is the internal dimension of the ring. How you will get it? Column size minus cover, nominal cover minus the diameter of the ring. You will get the internal diameter dimension E. So both the sides 2 covers minus 2 diameter of the bars of the ring, you will get the E. Similarly, you will get A. The length of the column minus both side covers minus 2 times diameter of the bar, then you will get internal dimension as A. So 2 times A plus A, that is 2 times A, E plus E, that is 2 times E. So 2 into bracket A plus E, you add one length and one width. So multiply it by 2, you will get the total perimeter of the steel. Then add plus 24D, that is for the, you can see the hooks here. This is a 135-degree hook. For that, you have to add 24D. Suppose if it's 90-degree hook, means if you are bending here and both the sides, then you will mention, take it as a 20D. Here, one of the important thing what you have to do is there is some deduction you have to make. If you take this directly, the length of the hooks will be more than the requirement. Why that will happen, that we will be discussing little slide next. This you remember, 2 into bracket A plus E. A is the internal dimension and E is the internal dimensions of the ring. Don't take outer dimension. So there is a lot of variation will come if you take it outer dimensions. Especially the rings, it's very important because so many thousands or lakhs together rings will be adopting either in the beams or in the columns. So the length of each ring matters too much, because its multiples are more. So since multiples are more, the effect of the reinforcement reconciliation will be also more. You should be more careful. If any case of any doubts, what you people need to do, you have to check in the project what is the actual cutting length to get the required dimensions. Because whatever the consultant, they will check the outer dimensions. What is the outer dimensions, they will check, and what is the length of the hook required, that they will check. So they should be proper. For that, in the site, generally what we will adopt, because the elastic property of the steel instrument varies. So that's why we will cut a sample in the site and check whether required dimensions we are getting or no. So whatever required length, that should be recorded in the project diary, and it should be informed to the clients also. This is the cut length we are using for the rings. If required, they can come and witness that. So that should be recorded well, because this affects the steel reconciliation in the projects. You should be aware of this. So similarly here 90-degree bend. So further we are studying that what are the bends and what are the deductions should be made. These are the typical details of hooks in bars. Out of this, all these things, no, first, second, third, and fourth, fifth also. Generally, we will not adopt this type of system in our current practices, because nowadays we are using the higher grade reinforcement, where the bending and rebending is not allowed. Means this 45-degree bend or this type of hook, this is not allowed and it's not required also. Earlier days we used to get the mild steel reinforcement. Mild steel reinforcement is a little elastic material, so you can bend it to that shape. Here, if you start bending to the shape, the stresses and strains will be so high. So the micro cracks will develop at such certain bends here in this bends. Even though it may not be visual for the eyesight, certain cracks will develop here and here also. So that's why nowadays we are not adopting this type of bending system at all. We'll be studying what type of bending system we are using in the current practice. Most probably we will not adopt this cranking system. Maybe in some lintels or somewhere we may be using this cranking system. Definitely this hook is outdated. because of the ribs you must have seen on the reinforcement, it has got a lot of bond strength. And even this mild steel earlier, it didn't have the ribs, so that bonding will be less in the concrete. So that's why we used to give the hooks in the earlier days, but now it's not required. However, this one, last one is there. You can use this one. See here clearly it's mentioned L1 and L2. So here 24D what you have checked earlier, 2 times L1 plus L2 plus 24D. Total length of the bar is how much, that's mentioned here. The last one, 6th one, generally we'll be using in our practice. See, standard bends and deductions. See, all of you are aware the beam, you must have done the UTM test, no? Universal testing machine. You may be pulling the bar and understanding what is the stress strain relationship, no? Up to elastic limit means the recovery of the length, means again it will come back to its original length. That is called elastic. You are aware that, no? E, that elastic, stress by strain. So unless otherwise in the elastic limits, the reinforcement will get back into this original length. But what we will do in practice, we will be bending the reinforcement in this fashion, 45-degree bend or 90-degree bend or 130. See, it means the reinforcement is went under the deformation. Means the stresses here are beyond the elastic limit. Means the reinforcement has crossed the elastic limits. Means the shape is not going to come back. Once if you bend the steel reinforcement like this, it will not come back to its original shape. What happens when the stress and strains they are beyond the limits, means in the elastic limit still, the length of the reinforcement will get increased. Due to this bending, the length of this reinforcement will get increased. In other sense, a small reduction will be there in the cross section. Of course, that is within the permissible limits. The length will be now, since we are studying the BBS, this is important to know how much length it's going to increase. For 45-degree bend, the length increase will be equal to the diameter of the steel. Suppose if 10 mm steel is there, if you are bending 45 degree, the length will be increased by diameter. If 20 mm steel is there, 20 mm length will increase for 45-degree bend. For 90-degree bend, 2 times the diameter. Means 20 mm diameter means for the 90-degree bend, there will be increase in length of 40 mm. That is 4 centimeters length will be increase will be there in the 90-degree bend. And 135-degree bend, that is again multiplied 3 times. So for every 45-degree, one diameter is increased. You can see here 45 plus 45, 90, 90 plus 45 is 135, 135 plus 45 is 180. So for every 45-degree bend, there is an increase in length by its diameter. Whatever the diameter of the bar is there, that much length will increase. Why we are discussing this is very important when you are going to calculate, especially the rings. These rings you can see here. How many bends you can see here? The last 6th item, if you see, how many bends we can identify here? All the 4 corners, 4 is there. Plus again one more loop will be there, no? Here. See, it means 1, 2, 3. 3 bends are there with 90-degree and 2 hooks are there with 135-degree. See, so much of length of the reinforcement will increase when you start bending into this shape. So what we will do, we will reduce that much of length into the total cut length of the reinforcement. So so much of reduction will be there. Since the ring given the shape, whenever you start bending 90-degree bend, the 2 times the diameter will be increased in the length of the reinforcement. So that much reduction should be made for each bend. For each 90-degree bend, you have to do 2 times the diameter reduction. And for here, there you can see here 135-degree bends are 2 and 90-degree bends are 3. So much of reduction will be there. Means per beam, if you consider a 12 mm dia ring, it is applicable in the especially that type of hooks what we are showing here. See, this type of hooks is insisted by the consultants prominently. But what happens whenever you are putting this type of hooks in the columns, especially columns, you are putting the vibrator needle into the column. That time, many times, the needle will be stuck in this hook. So they cannot take out the vibrator needle from this hook. So that's why the tendency of the bar bender is to bend 90-degree bend. So in Bangalore zone, it's acceptable because we are not in the severe earthquake zone. But whereas if you go to the Delhi and Himalaya belts and all that, for the earthquake zones, it is compulsory to do this 135-degree bend. So here also we'll try to insist, but many times they won't do. So generally we'll adopt to two 90-degree bends here also. One bend here, another bend here, means total if 90-degree bends are there, it will be 5. Now if we are considering this 135-degree bend, 3 will be with 90-degree bend and 2 will be with 135-degree bend. So how much reduction will be there for the 12 mm diameter? See, 3 times the diameter, 3 into 2, that is 6 times the diameter, that is 7.2 centimeters, 12 mm into 6 mm, 12 mm into 6 times, that is 7.2 centimeters length, and another 135-degree or 2, means that is again another 6, 3 plus 3, 2 times 135-degree bends are there. So it means total how many diameters we are reducing? That is there earlier 3 into 2, that is 6 plus 6. So total 12 times diameter, 12 into 12. 12 mm into 12 mm is the length reduction. That much length reduction we should make it in the total calculation. So it is a huge impact in the PBS. That's why I'm detailing that part. You remember 45-degree bed means 1D, 1 diameter reduction. That keep in your mind. These are the various other details given in IS 2502. As I told, we are not practicing this type of bend. However, you should know this on the right side corner, you can see this 45-degree bend. Maybe in your examination, they may give you PBS with bends, and so 45-degree bend is there. It means here also the length will be increased. 2 bends are there. No? Here 45-degree bend, here one more 45-degree bend. 2 45-degree bends, you have to increase the length. At the same time, the diagonal length will be more than the straight length. How much it will be more? You can do the calculation with 45-degree means it's the isosceles angle. 2 sides are equal. So it will be 0.41 times the horizontal length. What you will get extra? 0.41 times if you multiply the straight length, that much length increase will be there for the cranking bar or the inclined bar with the 45-degree bend. That portion you can do on your own and you can check up. It is what you remember is you have to increase the horizontal length of this portion and add 0.41 times the horizontal length for this stretch. So that will give you the increased length for the inclined portion. Let us see a standard PBS format. 2 formats are there. One is given by Prayojana, that also we'll be seeing it here. Almost all the requirements. And understand this table is very important for the students. Many times if the proper table is given, we will give the marks. Whenever we ask to draw the PBS, at least if the table is there, indicating all these bar numbers, so you have to identify the bar numbers, you have to mention in the drawings and here, so that you can correlate which bar you are taking in this calculation. So bar number is important. Bar shape, what is the shape of the bar, you should mention. Further we are studying. Then what are the dimensions, like A and B, horizontal length B, and here vertical dimension is A. All those things you have to mention here. That is shape of the bar. That's very important. These are the breakups what you are doing. Then diameter of the steel is very important. You have to mention here. Then spacing to get the numbers. What are the numbers to get? You should mention the spacings. Then cutting length. How we are going to calculate the cutting length? We will be studying in the further slides. Okay, then this last is varying from 8 mm to 32 mm diameter. See, you people sir, you should know Excel better. Excel is very important to do any QS. I think all these 4 days who have attended, they are aware of the QS requirements. No? Out of that, Excel is very important. If you don't learn AutoCAD, also it's fine, but learn the Excel. AutoCAD may be required for some designers or who wants to do the drawings and all that. But Excel is very much useful for any engineers who wants to work with QS or even day to use also. The Excel is very important. Some formulas which will make your life very easy. Early days we used to struggle without this Excel, but nowadays it's very convenient. You can give the formula, but only thing you have to take care the formulas what you are giving. It is rechecked with manual calculations and see at least 1 or 2 here and there. You have to check manual calculation and see so that any formula mistakes means it will be multiples of mistakes. So it will give erroneous results. Only thing you have to take care, recheck the formulas what you are going to feed. If you give formulas, then whatever the appropriate diameter corresponding to this 20 mm dia, you can give a formula 20 mm diameter. If you are mentioning here, automatically it will come here to this 20 mm dia. Like that, we can generate formulas so that it will come automatically. Once if you start filling this, automatically this table will get filled up with the formulas. So you can give certain options. Even I am not much aware of the Excel, but I know people who are using it. So automatically it will generate here. It will fill up here. Next here, we will come to the bottom of the table. So after each, you will get the total length. Then unit weight we have discussed earlier. You have to multiply the unit weight with the length. You will get the weight in terms of kgs. So finally, you can convert it to tons or you can retain it in the kgs. Generally, we will convert loss in terms of tons because the figures will be running in multiples of numbers. So divided by 1000, you will get in terms of metric tons. So total reinforcement weight per particular things. As I discussed earlier, you need it for client submission and even for PRW bills also, you need this type of preparation to arrive because whatever this 38.5 what you are seeing, that is the payment what you will receive or the labor payment what you are going to give on this weight. So this is a very important table. You should remember the format. You can see one more format here given. Next slide. See, this is the format given by our Prayojana Consultancy. See here, grid number, bar number, grid number is also mentioned here. Out of that, you can see from start with the project. What is the project name you have to mention. Then even drawing numbers you have to mention, because when you, as I told in the beginning, you are starting with a project with 2 years, 3 years down the line. At the end of the project, foundation drawings, which drawings, all those confusions will be there. So that you should mention the drawing number so that you can immediately go back to the drawings and check back. Even if with more authentication, you can generate some hyperlink of the drawings. You can generate a hyperlink so that if you click that hyperlink, the drawing will be automatically open up so that you can explain that easily instead of searching the drawings there. So that you can mention drawing numbers, you can create the hyperlink also, or you can mention the drawing numbers only so that you can track the drawings based on the project capacity or project volume. You have to go into the technologies. Date is very important. Then who has done this calculation, that also should be written here and checked by. This is very important. If any mistakes are there, you can ask. If you find any difficulties, you can ask the person who has done it. Otherwise, generally some escape will be there. I have not done this, sir. That's what generally will get the comments. Instead of that, you mention who has done the calculation. That should be written here. Somebody must have checked it. That also. Many times, error will happen in the civil engineering works when they are sitting for the last audit or somewhere. Will get into a lot of problems. So that time, if these things are there, that will be very much useful. Grid number, particular location you have to mention which grid. In the drawings they will mention grid number so that they can go back to that drawings and check particular grids. So all these details will be helpful in recovering the details done. in the future or currently also, if somebody is doing the checking, checked by is there, no? So when that person is asking to show how you got this calculation, immediately you will be able to open up certain drawings and see this bar numbers and grid numbers. It will be handy for you to explain and get through easily. So the standard weights are given here, 0.3 and 5.61. Generally, we will do it in the project's reconciliation time only. We'll get into the rolling margins and go ahead. Otherwise, generally, we'll multiply with the standard weights and release the tonnage to the contractor as well as the claiming the bills. Let us see one particular footing details. Here is a footing with you can see outermost line corresponding to the PCC. You must see the PCC over that RCC will come. The line which is indicated here, that this line is the footing size, A1, and here another side is the B1. Actually, of course, this line should go up to here. Some drawing editing mistake. So this should be up to here. That is the this line will be the B1. Okay, and X and Y are the dimensions of PCC. Whatever the offsets are there, 100 mm, 50 mm, whatever given by the consultant, that should be followed here. So this is a typical footing for which we are going to do sort of calculation in the further slide. Here A bars are given here and B bars are given along this dimension. Nowadays the consultants made your life very simple. They are giving directly what is A bar, what is B bar. Otherwise, in earlier days, they used to give shorter span this one, longer span this one. Like that, they will give the reinforcement. Now, they have made it much simpler. We will see that further how they have made it. So, either you may be getting the spacing of the rebars are A. You can see here, this dot is here. One yellow dot is here. Means this reinforcement is spanned between from here to here. This is the line what they have indicated, consultants. So this rod, yellow point, is a rod indication where this rod is running from where to where. From this end to this end, whatever is there, they will be running this bar, B bar will be running along this. Okay, then A bar is perpendicular to that. So remember this A1 and B1 is the footing size, RCC footing size, X and Y are the PCC size. A bar and B bar are the bar lengths or bar nomenclature what you have given, A bar and B bar. You have to mention in your that shape of the bar and all those things, are the name of the bar. There you have to mention A bar and B bar. See, this is a cross section of the footing what you can see here. Here, what all the things you can see here, vertical column reinforcement you can see, and the footing reinforcement. We shall concentrate on the footing reinforcement right now. See here, what are the dimensions given here? Mm is the bent up bar, means after the horizontal portion that is taken by 150 mm. See, these are the typical details what they have given. Many consultants, they won't give this also. Depends upon the drawings, you have to see whether it's given or no. If it's given, you have to add this one. If it's not given, don't add it, stop it up to here. Most of the consultants nowadays, they won't give this vertical development because already the reinforcements are having the ribs. They don't need the much development length further. They won't give. Not required also. But the consultant has given, drawings are given, you have to follow. At the most, you can raise a query whether we need that bend or no. If the consultant still insists, you have to do it. Because they are the designers, they are taking the responsibility of your building. So that you have to follow what they say. See, this is how the consultants will be giving the details to you. See, they have given directly numbers, 35 numbers of 12 mm diameter and B bars are 26 numbers of 12 mm. They are given directly. This is a full chart. Out of that only I have taken 2 footings. F2 they have given 34 numbers and 25 numbers, but need not necessary to give the numbers. They may give the spacing of the reinforcement. Actually, when you are doing the calculations, you will be calculating the spacings. No, AST required per meter you will calculate. Whenever you are calculating the maybe in the slab or in the footings, you will calculate per meter length how much is the area of cross section of steel is required. That's what you will calculate. You will not calculate the number of bars. The consultant's choice is there. So in order to avoid any confusions in the project, they may give numbers so that you can check back in the site and see 35 number, 26. Just you count. If they are there, fine. Now, a small calculation part is done here. Instead of giving the number, suppose if they give A bar and B bar as 12 mm diameter and the spacing is 100 mm. That is given by the detailing if they give. Then what is the length of the bar A? What is the length of the bar A? As you have seen in the drawings, this is the A bar. Means here the B1 is the length of the footing. So in the A bar length you have to calculate. This is the A bar length what you have to calculate. It means what is that you have to do? Whatever this length is there, in that you have to deduct 2 covers. This side 1 cover is there, another side 1 cover is there. What is the cover we have discussed earlier? Let us consider 75 mm as the side cover for the footings. You have to do cover minus both the sides cover. You have to deduct. Once if you deduct the cover, you will get the length of this bar. Then what you have to do? You have to other direction, whatever the length is there, you have to divide with the spacing. And 3350, what you will get after deduction of the cover, 3500 is the length, minus 2 covers, you will get the length of the bar, that is 3350 mm. Add 2 verticals as you have seen in the drawings. 2 verticals they have shown in the drawings. You can add 2 verticals both the sides, 150 mm, 150 and 300 mm. Total length of the bar is 3350 plus 300 mm. This is total length of the bar. You have to give the shape of the bar also. What you have seen in the footing sections, that shape also you have to mention. Then 33 plus 50 plus 300 mm is the length of the total length of the bar, that is 3650 mm. You can deduct 2 bends here. See here, the shape of the bar means in the BBS you have to mention this shape of the bar. You have to mention. One 90-degree bend is there, another 90-degree bend is there. You can do the deduction, but generally we will not go for the deduction. But if you deduct also, there is no issue. You can bend it. What happens if you don't deduct? The length may be instead of 150, the length may be little more. Another 12 mm, it may be more or 1200. So if it's more also, it's fine. Because multiples are not there. Too many multiples will not be there here. Unlike the vertical rings, you will get lot many multiples. You can do deduction, no issue. 90-degree bend. Officially, you can do the minus also there in the calculation. Then how you will get the numbers? Numbers equal to another direction, whatever the length is there. Again, 2700 is another direction length. Minus 2 times cover you are doing it, 75 70 gram we are taking, then spacing is given 100 mm. So then you will get 25.5 numbers what you are going to get out of that calculation. So always you add plus 1 number, because both the ends we are giving the reinforcement. You cannot just start in between. No? So you draw a particular drawings and see how many spacings means how many bars you will get it. So always you add 1 plus 1 number so that you will get back the total numbers. So what actually we have to do, after getting the 27 numbers, you have to calculate number of spacings and divide it again, because you are rounded off here. 25.5 to 26 you have made, plus 1 number you have made, 27 numbers. So how many spacings you will get, you divide it again. So it will be little less than the 100 mm spacing. It may be 99.7, 99.8, like that you will get the spacing. So that should be marked and that should be placed in equal spacing. This 27 number should be placed equally. Otherwise, what happens if you start keeping 100 mm only? At the end, you will get very less spacing. Means you may get 80 mm or something like that. That should be equally distributed. Means the mat should be adjusted properly. You will see many times some freshers are there. Even the barbenders also fresh. Simply 100 mm spacing, 100 mm spacing, they will mark it. At the last spacing, you will get lesser because we have rounded off here to the 27 numbers. Means almost 50 mm. We have to adjust in reducing the total number of bars. That's what you have to do. Similarly, in the other direction also, you can calculate that. I hope the calculations of the rebar is very simple for the footings. This is the simplest thing what we can do in BBS part. Other than that also, you can see there I have done the simple footing without the top mat. You can see here the another footing with the top mat. When you are going to give the top mat, when the footing depth is more than 1 meter, you are going to have the top mat also. Generally, it will be the nominal steel. Unless otherwise it's designed particularly with various steel. If compression zone also you need steel, you get main steels also. Otherwise, generally it will be nominal steel. Even that's called shrinkage steel also. If the footing depth is more than 1 meter, we will be providing this top reinforcement. That you keep in mind. So similar to this, whatever you have calculated in the bottom bar, you will calculate the top bar also, and perpendicular to that direction also, you will get the reinforcement. Both the directions you will be providing the steel. Footings, since you are beginners only, otherwise there are a lot of combined footings will be there, and even the lift pits and all those things are there. Even rafts are there. Everything goes into the foundations. As you grow up further in the technical field, then you will be coming across such things. You can, if you know the fundamentals, you can calculate that also, no issue. This is a typical footing with the top mat. Means in the projects you will have this type of top reinforcement also. Next, we will study the lap lengths. See here, consultant what they have given, LD plus 10D. LD is the lap length or development length what we are going to have. Plus 10D, consultant want to give little margin for himself. He don't want to see any sacrifice because to say LD and something reduction is there, they don't want to face any problem. Up to 10D, they can keep the margin. This is just to avoid the mistakes happening. Otherwise, what happens? You have to replace total. If some LD calculation, some problems are there, any shortage in length means you have to replace the reinforcement. In order to avoid that, the consultant have added some plus 10D extra as a safety margin. You can see this particular development length given in the code books. Earlier days we used to get some 50, 70, 45D like that only. What observation we can make out of this table? See, for Y means you have to think that it's indicated for the FE415 grade. What are the FE415 grade, FI 500? Just we'll discuss after these two slides. For Y or for Y means FE415 steel, M20, M25, M30, M35. These are all the things you know, the grade of the concrete. These are the diameter of the bar, and this table will give you the development length in tension. Whereas the other side, right side, you can see the development length in compression. What are the observations we can make here? If you consider 16 mm diameter, for M20, the development length is 775 mm. Whereas if it comes to the M40, it is 475 mm, almost near to the half. As the grade of the concrete increases, the development length reduces. That keep in your mind. Many times oral also they may ask you, why also. As the development length means as the grade of the concrete increases, the development length will reduce. That you should remember. M20, M25, M35. See, gradually as the grade increases, 1175 to 750 mm for 25 mm. If you check up, 1175 mm reduced to 1025, then 950 mm, then 850 mm, then 750 mm. There will be a reduction in the development length as the grade of concrete increases. Why it happens? As the grade of concrete increases, the bond strength in the concrete will increase. When the bond strength is increased, the development length can be reduced. Under the logic, maybe many people must have done the project or research work, how the grade of the concrete versus the development length. So based on that experiments evolved, they have arrived at this various developments required for various grades of concrete. This is what you should remember. One more thing, what you can observe. See, for example, if you take 20 mm, 950 mm is the development length in tension, whereas in the compression it is 775 mm. Means in the compression the development is less, and in the tension the development is more, because the tension the reinforcement is trying to get debonded from the concrete. That's why bond length will be more. The compression, there is no question of debonding. Again, it's getting compressed along with the concrete, so the development is less. That's why in the compression, that is the development length is less. The thing what you have to observe in a building when we are designing a structure is a little trickish issue to identify which members are coming under tension, which members are coming under compression. Generally, we will consider the columns as the compression member and beams as the tension member. The beams also again you will have the tension zone as well as compression zone. The columns also it is subjected to earthquake forces and all those, even though preliminarily it is designed for the compressive forces. During the earthquake, the stresses will reverse. The columns also subject tension. That time the column should not get cracks or failures. For that reason, generally we'll go for this left side, whatever the indications are there. Of course, consultants will decide. Generally, they will be reluctant to use this compression development length, because nowadays even Bangalore is also coming under the earthquake zone 2, which is supposed to be safest zone. So now they have added in the zone 2. So that's why they don't want to take any chance. Always we provide the development length provided in the tension in all the places, so they will be more safe. However, if consultant accepts, you can use columns this lap length or development length, and this side you can use it for the beams. Beams, you don't try to distinguish between the tension zone and compression zone. Treat all the beams as the tension members and give the development length whatever given in this table. It's available. Generally, in the typical notes, they will give you all these details in any drawings. You have to follow these drawings. Let us see next table. Next table is indicated by for torque. This is FE 500 grade. As the grade increases, grade of the reinforcement, you can see here 20 mm still 1150 is given the development length. What we have seen in the FE 415 grade, 20 mm, it's a 950 mm. See, same 20 mm diameter. When you are using the FE 415 grade, that is indicated by the Y, the development length is 950 mm. Same 20 mm diameter, when you are using FE 415, the length is increased 1150 mm. Means as the grade of the steel increases, the development length will increase. The four things you have to note. One, as the grade of the concrete increases, the development increases. That is, here also you can see that same thing, 1150 to 725, there is a reduction there. And as the grade of the reinforcement increases, the development length also increases. These two things you keep in mind. And in the compression zone, the development is less. In the tension zone, the development length is more. Here is a small sketch what I made. Even the drawings are not very neat and tidy. Just for your explanation, I am taking this column rebar, column BBS, how you are going to make. What are the things given here? First you observe. The height of the building is 3 meters from the ground level. That's for your calculation purpose, just it's done. From the ground level, you can see here GL is mentioned here. From there, the rooftop is 3 meters height. And how much is the excavation? Excavation depth is given here 1.5 meters. 1.5 meter the excavation depth. Now, you know the shape of the bar is given here. It's bent on the top. It's vertical. Again, it is gone into the horizontal portion. See, I think the drawing sketch is little shaky, but you can just understand the shape of the bar. Again, I have indicated here. The shape of the bar will be given like this. So, in the BBS schedule, you have to draw this shape of the bar. Now, here, what are the things you have to get the length? Here, I have indicated 1 as the bottom horizontal length, 2 as the vertical length, and 3 as the horizontal length at the top. These are the 3 things what you need to calculate to get the BBS for this particular vertical column rod. Already you have studied the bottom mat, how we are going to do the calculation, simplest thing. Now let us understand the column reinforcement BBS. See now part 1, it is the horizontal length. Can you see here what is the length given from this footing top to the end of the reinforcement? This is the development length what you are supposed to give. That is nothing but the 50 times the diameter. 50 times the diameter is the development length given here. Either generally we will adopt M20 grade concrete. That's why instead of avoiding actually strictly speaking, you have to go to the tables what I have shown earlier. From there you have to take the development length and do the calculation here. But generally all the consultants, they will give 50 times diameter as the development length inside. From the top of the footing to this end of the reinforcement is the 50 times diameter. This you have to remember carefully because this is required in the further calculations. Now, development length is how much? 50 times into the diameter of the bar. Now, 20 mm reinforcement is mentioned here. You can see in the sketch here, corner 4 numbers of 20 mm diameter is there. So, what is the LD required? It is LD required is equal to 50 times the diameter. That is 50 into 20 mm. That's nothing but the 1000 mm is the required LD. Means from here, this point to this point, the length required is 1 meter. Now, see what is the length available in the vertical portion. This vertical portion, what is the length available? From the footing top, we have to consider. This is total footing depth is how much? This is mentioned here, 500 mm. It's mentioned on the left side. 500 mm is the total footing depth. What is the cover? The bottom, above the PCC, we are keeping 50 mm cover. So minus 50 mm cover, we are making it. Then bottom mat is 12 mm. Both the side is mentioned here, 12 tar at 150 mm center. So when you are putting mat in 2 directions, so the height of the means you are keeping your column reinforcement above the mat. So what is the reduction? 50 minus 12 mm minus 12 mm. So 2 directions you are getting the 12 mm, 12 mm means bottommost cover is 50 mm. Then one bar is the 12 mm diameter. Another bar over that perpendicular direction is a 12 mm diameter. So that is the total vertical depth available in the footing is 426 mm. Don't consider directly 500 mm is the footing depth. Don't consider 500 mm is the footing depth. Now, total development required is 1000 mm. Means here you have calculated 50 times diameter. That is the 1000 mm. 1000 mm minus this length, what you have calculated the vertical length available in the footing. That is 426 mm. So 1000 minus 426 mm will give you 574 mm. This is what you have to mention here. 1 I have indicated here. 1 put a question mark here, and 1 the calculation just now we have made is 574 mm. So here you have to mention 574 mm as the horizontal length in the footing. See, this is very important whenever you are giving the BBS, how much L should be given. The calculation should make and give the to the bar bender to cut. Otherwise, simply they will cut 300 mm. That's not so. Again, you should calculate based on the footing depth. This length should be given. Many times, what happens? The footing depths are more than the LD. Suppose instead of 500 mm footing depth, 1 meter is the footing depth. Then how much LD should be given? Because vertical length itself will become 1 meter for you. So you need not give any horizontal length. That time, if a consultant has given minimum 300 mm, you have to take just 300 mm only L. Because footing depth is more. There itself, you are having the proper LD available in the footing itself, vertical height itself. So then minimum LD, whatever you are supposed to give, that you have to give. But you can avoid it in many of the reinforcements. Suppose if the column is having the some 20 numbers, you can take alternate bars only to the 300 mm minimum, just to see that the reinforcements are kept in position. All other rods you can stop it at the LD required. Means all the reinforcement need not be turned. But with the consultants, you have to discuss. Consultant confident, you can just restrict up to the 50D. 50D, if the vertical itself is enough, you can leave it. It means, suppose if this 20 mm, suppose the footing depths are 1 meter. If you imagine the footing depth is 1 meter, all these 4 corner bars are there. No, that you can take it up to the bottom and give minimum 300 ml. And these 2 numbers of 16 mm is given. No, that you need not take it up to the bottom, because already 16 mm. 16 mm means 50D. 16 mm into 50 mm is just 800 mm only need. Already footing depth is 1 meter. Why you have to take it up the bottom and make a L? It's not necessary, because whatever development required already you have achieved. You can see on the left side it's mentioned here 15 to 16 is 800 mm. So footing depth is 1 meter. Then you will not do it. Just you hang those bars in the concrete itself. That's enough. That will serve the design requirement, so that you can save balanced steel. But most of the bar benders also they will afraid, and even contractors also they will afraid, consultants also. So they will ask, okay, take it up to the bottom, make a bend. But in many projects where I have stopped and with the consultation discussion, we have reduced that L part, or even less than the footing depth only, we'll put the reinforcement. 2-3 projects we did it like that. So there is a great savings. You see, the steel is already costly element. If you save, it's going to be a lot of savings to the project. And it's more than that. Technically, it's not required. Only 50D is required. Why you have to provide more than that? Technically, it's not required. That's why you did not give. Wherever possible, try to avoid it. But not where the requirement is also there. Also, you should not reduce. You have to take care of that. This is about the horizontal length of this member. Horizontal length at the bottom. That is nothing but 574 mm. One I have indicated here. The length I have calculated 574 mm. I think it's fairly clear for you people. 574 mm. You have to mention A. Then bar number, not bar. This is 2. I have indicated here 2 is the vertical height of the reinforcement from the footing bottom. How do you get it? So 3 meters or 3000 mm is the vertical distance, and 1500 is the footing depth. Here it's taken 3000 plus 1500 minus what is the PCC thickness? PCC thickness is 100 mm. It's mentioned here 100 mm minus 50 mm is what? 50 mm is the cover, bottom cover. What you are going to get? 50 mm. Then 2 mats are there. 12 mm, 12 mm. Over that only your reinforcement units. If you do all this calculation, what the things you will get is the, see, another 25 mm also deducted, because in the slab top, just I have considered for simplicity, I have taken only one floor level. So top also there will be a cover of 25 mm. So that also it has been reduced here. With all this calculation, if you add all this and deduct these portions, you will get 4301 mm. For the portion 2, the height should be 4300 mm. That you have to mention in your shape of the bar. Then what about this top one? Top one, the consultant has given 300 mm. What happens? 300 mm plus whatever the cover you have given to the column, because the dimensions what they have mentioned is from the column face to the end of the bar 300 mm. Many times they will give this also LD, similar to the bottom what you have calculated 50D. Similarly, they will give from here to here also they will give 50D. That time, if they give 50D, you have to do this more length. You have to extend into the slab. That you have to take care. But if they given 300 mm, just bend it by the 300 mm. Here you should be more careful because many times this heavy reinforcement you cannot go and bend it at the top. Sorry. So 300 plus 40 plus 8 mm, that is 340 mm is the horizontal length. So hope the vertical reinforcements are clear. 1 minute. Sorry, just a minute. Drinking water. So hope this column reinforcement is clear for everyone. For the BBS, how you will get the horizontal length in the bottom and how you will get the horizontal at the top and how you will calculate the vertical height. These things I will not discuss because already we have discussed in the earlier slide how you will calculate the length of the rod minus bends. Here one bend deduction you can make. It is not necessary to make because they are all affecting very less the calculation part. You did not deduct for the bend length. Here one bend means I want to reduce 20 mm. They are all very minor things. You did not do it also, it's well and good, fine. Means 90-degree bend, you can reduce to 2 times diameter. Here one more 90-degree bend is there, you can reduce another 2 times diameter. To be precise, you can reduce it. It depends how much precision you want. So this is all about the column vertical reinforcement. Now here corner 4 or 20 mm dia, and in between I have given 2 numbers of 16 mm dia. The vertical height for the 16 mm also will remain same as in this calculation 20 mm how you have calculated. Only thing is the bottom development length. No, here on the left side the calculation is made here. 50 times diameter means it's 800 mm minus 426 already you have calculated here. Because footing depths and cover everything is same only, the L should be 374 mm. Means here in the bottom portion, the portion 1 length will be 374 mm for the 16 mm diameter, whereas 574 mm for the 20 mm diameter. That you should be more careful because here 16 mm diameters are there. For this bottom L will be just 374 mm, whereas here it's a 574 mm. For the 20 mm as diameter increases, the development length increases, hence the length will be more. This you make. Okay. Based on the diameter, you have to calculate each bottom L how much is there. Generally, what people they will do, they will take this rod to the bottom and they will just make a L 300 mm. That's not correct practice. You have to calculate with the development length and do the calculation. By chance, if the consultant is not given, you should ask what is the development length required. They will give, or they may be given in the general notes. They will explain you accordingly how to do. Understood about the development length? Why we have discussed that development length? Now we have calculated that portion into the BBS. So all these details will go into the BBS format. There you have to mention number of column rods. Now 4 numbers of 20 mm is there. If suppose such columns are 10 numbers, you have to mention number of columns. Then number of members, 4 numbers. Then multiply by so many columns. That will go into the table. In the table, you have to fill up all this. This is the part you have to indicate the shape of the bar there and give this dimension, individual dimensions, so that you can get the total length of the bar. Multiply by numbers, you will get the final total length. With these details, you can fill up that format. Let us understand, another 15 minutes time is there for us. The beam reinforcement detailing. As I told you, FE 415 and FE 500, the cranking of the bars are not done. Nowadays, if you go to any projects, they won't do the cranking. Cranking means 45-degree bend and taken. Actually, that is economic thing. What we are doing. It resists the shear as well as the reinforcement taken from compression zone or tension zone into the. We are curtailing the reinforcement in the compression zone and taking it to the tension zone. The cranking method is actually economical compared to this system. However, since the grade of the steel is increasing, the codal practices is not allowing to bend that reinforcement into that 45-degree bend because it requires reversal of bending. So that time the micro cracks are observed in the bending portion. So that's why that is restricted or not done. So the cranking should be avoided in the FE 500 grade especially. If you are using FE 415, we can allow it in the slab reinforcement, lower diameter reinforcement you can allow. Definitely it should not be used in the cranking system, should not be used in the beams. See the detailing here. This is basically you can see the reinforcements, how that should be curtailed. For this, you people have understood already the bending moment diagrams and all those things, where the tensions are there in the beams, where the compressions are there in the beams. Hope you people will remember all those things. Just imagine, just remember the bending moment diagram for the continuous beams, where all the tensions are happening, the reinforcements will be given. You can see here, bottom you have got 2 layers of steel here in the center of the beam. See here, the reinforcement is more here, and here the top reinforcements are there. You know the sagging bending moment will happen in the beam bottom at the center. That's why reinforcement is given more. Whereas the hogging bending moment will be there just by the sides of the supports. The reinforcement will be there. And here, what zone will be there here in the center portion on the top? It will be strong. It will be compression zone. The beams, the center portion, this is the compression zone. Here also you can see this is the compression zone in the beam. So already our concrete is very strong in compression. We don't need any steel. So we can avoid this steel. But how to tie the reinforcement rings? No? For that, we have to give some hanger bars. These are called hanger bars or stirrup holder rods also many times it's called. Just for holding the stirrups only these reinforcements are given. Generally they will be giving 12 mm steel. Unless otherwise there is a design requirement, they will not run this main steel completely. This reinforcement is called hanger bars or the stirrup holder bar. And this is the main reinforcement, top main reinforcement, here top main reinforcement, here this is the bottom reinforcement. Bottom reinforcement second layer based on the requirement only this will be given. So from here to here the reinforcement is not given because as you go to the support the compression will happen here and compression will happen here. That's why steel reinforcement will be less here. That's why curtailment of reinforcement happens here. So what distances it's happening? This is a typical details what we are given here. Otherwise consultants may give based on the as since the softwares are there, they will clearly identify to what distance the stresses are less. Based on that they will cut off the steel, but they will follow the standard practice only. What is the this you can see the second layer of steel. What is the curtailment? This is called curtailment because you are stopping the reinforcement not going beyond. Means you are cutting this reinforcement. This is 0.125. That is 0.125 of the LC1. What is LC1? LC1 is a clear distance between the columns. Clear distance between the columns is LC1. What distance you have to cut? You have to cut at 0.125 LC1. Whatever the distance is, this clear distance is there, 0.125 times. Means 0.125 means how much? 1/8. 1/4 is nothing but the 0.25. Half of that. This is the 1/8 of the span. 0.125 you can remember. 0.125 this curtailment of reinforcement will happen in the second layer. What about the bottom? Why I am detailing, why I am explaining all this is when you are giving the length of the steel, you have to do the calculation for this. That's why I am explaining all this. What about the bottom? You can see here, it is just entering into the column by 150 mm. If it is entering the column by 150 mm, it's not going full length because already this portion is in compression zone. In the compression zone, the developed length is really not required, or just it is required enter into the column. So 150 mm, or sometimes they will give in multiples of diameter 10D, 15D. They will be giving or minimum of 150 mm, like that they will give. And here also, especially this is very important when the column lengths are more. You need not do unnecessarily reinforcement in the column lengths. Nowadays, you are getting a lot of shear walls in the high-rise buildings. So this is not required. You need not run the bar through and through. If columns are just 200 mm, 300 mm, you can run, because if it's a column is 300 mm, from here on 50 mm we are giving, here on 50 means 300 mm is covered. So if the shear walls are there, definitely you can go with this detailing. Just from the column face, you are entering 150 mm inside. That's called bearing into the column. Clear about this? 150 mm, you are entering into the column. Further, I am going to use these things in the calculation of the reinforcement for a particular span. Okay, that is about the bottom. So bottom members 1, 2 here over. Next, this is the important thing, top reinforcement, where this negative steel or a hogging bending moment is there. You are going to get the tension here. So here LD is required. Similar to the footings what you have calculated, 50D. Can you see here? P1 50D. This is column LD. So from this face of the column to the bottom of the reinforcement, it should be 50 times the diameter. Whatever the diameter is there, multiplied with 50, that much development length you have to give. Strictly speaking, you have to go to the table and take the development length inside based on the grade of the concrete, grade of the steel, all those things you have to take. But it will create a lot of confusions if you start using the table, because each and every bars will get confused. So they will be on safer side. 50D they will be considering. It's a accepted standard practice. 50D from this column face to the end of the bar, you should give 50 times the diameter. That is the development length. See, in the negative bending moment, what happens? This portion is trying to go up. This portion is going to go up. So it will be bonded by this development length. That's why this is very important to have the development length in the column. Since it is in the tension zone, this reinforcement is subjected to tension. So it is provided into the column, the development length. This is especially end column. If it is continuously here, you can run it inside the span, other next span you can run it. You can see here, one more reinforcement here. It's going in this direction also. Here, what is this length? 0.3 times LC1. 0.3 times 30% of this span. That should be the length of this bar, both the sides. 0.3 of LC1. Okay, here on the left side you can see 0.3 LC1. Here one more thing is given, greater of the two spans, means you have got adjacent span LC1 as well as LC2 here. If LC2 is more than LC1, you have to consider 0.3 times LC2 on both the sides. For this span, definitely it will be 0.3 into this side also. You have to take 0.3 times LC2, means this span is more. So that span times 0.3, 30% of this span you have to extend into this beam. So it's mentioned here, greater of the two spans. It's clearly mentioned here, greater of the two spans you have to enter into the beam. This is 0.3 LC1 or LC2, whichever is greater. You have to calculate what is 0.3 times LC1, what is 0.3 LC1, whichever is more, that you have to take it. And here the stirrups are there. Again, stirrups we are not going to discuss. That already typical beams, typical details, do the calculations and keep number of beds, direction, all those things, minus cover and all those things. Typically, okay, action. This is the stirrups. Generally, you will see here. This will be shear. Also, will be more here. The stirrups will be at closer space, both ends, and here the stirrup spacing will be at larger space. If there is 100 mm, it may be 150 mm in this stirrup holder zone. The nominal reinforcement what they are supposed to give, that they will give in this stirrup holder zone. You have to understand the stirrups are closer spacing in this zone. Extent of stirrups, it is enclosure. Now, what are the varieties of reinforcement we are looking at here? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 reinforcement types are there in the PBS. You have to mention 5 reinforcement shapes and the length you have to calculate. Let us see that. Again, one more figure. I am giving a typical beam with 3 meters and 4 meters span. Purposely, I have taken it this side as a 4 meter span because you remember 0.3 times LC1 and LC2, whichever is greater. Now we'll see how the calculations are made. See bar 1, you can see here. This is the bar 1. This is the first bottommost layer of the steel. What we are going to keep. What is the length? Length is nothing but 3 meters the clear span plus 0.15 is the bearing, 0.15 is the bearing. You have seen that already, typical details. That is 150 mm. 3000 mm plus 1, I have put it in the meters actually. 3000 mm plus 150 mm plus 150 mm. That is 3300 mm will be the length of this bar. So in the BBS format, you should mention the shape of the bar straight line. Then you have to mention length as the 3.3. Then numbers, 2 numbers. If similar beams are there, you have similar number of beams you have to mention. That you can get the total length of the diameter of the bar is 20 mm. This is the item number 1. That is the bottommost bar. Then next bar is bar 2. Bar 2 is the second layer reinforcement, what we can see here. Second layer reinforcement. What is the deduction curtailment? That is reinforcement is curtailed. This is second layer curtailment. How much is the curtailment? It is 0.125 times the L1 or LC1. Here 3 meter is the LC1. You can see here 3000 the clear span minus 0.125 3000 minus 0.125 into 3000. That's nothing but the 3000 minus 0.375 minus 375. Okay. So total length what you are going to get is the 2250. So length of the bar is 2250 mm. This is bar number 2 detailing. Whatever the length is 2250. What is the diameter mentioned here? Bar number 2 is 16 mm diameter. Bar number 1 is 20 mm diameter. Here the detailing part. So bar 1 is over, bar 2 is over. Now bar 3. Bar 3 is important. This is the calculation where you need to involve a bit more. These two, 1 and 2 are simple calculations. Here, you can see in here I have mentioned A and B. Okay, A is nothing but the horizontal length and B is the vertical length. A is equal to how much? It is the horizontal length what you are going to have. How much is this one? This is 0.3 times from this column face. 0.3 times this should come. That is 30% of this clear span. That is 3000 mm into 0.3. Next, what I have added? Plus 300 mm. This is the column size is 300 mm. That I have added. Minus cover. This side you have to give cover column. Whatever the cover for the column is the same cover you have to give for the beam also. Minus 40 mm. So the total length is 1160 mm. This is A. A is nothing but this portion length. How we got it? It's very clear. 1160 mm. What here? Next bar B. Not bar B. In the same top bar, what is the vertical length? This is critical. So as you have calculated the footings, the 50 times the diameter. 50 times the diameter is nothing but 20 mm diameter. What mentioned here? Bar number 3 is 20 mm diameter. How much is 50 mm? 50 into 20 is 1 meter or 1000 mm minus 260 mm. What is 260 mm? How you got 260 mm? The horizontal length from this column face to here is how much? 260 mm, because 300 mm is column size and 40 mm is the column cover what you are going to reduce. So you will get 50 into 20, that is the total development length, minus 260 mm is the column, then that will be 740 mm. 740 mm is the length, vertical length what you will get, B. So A plus B, that will give you the total length of the top bar, that's bar number 3. What is the total bar 3 mm is A plus B. A is equal to 1160 mm and B equal to 740 mm. If you add both the things, it will become 1900 mm. Total length of the bar 3 is 1900 mm. That's what you have to do. Your BBS schedule, you have to write shape of the bar, then length of the bar is 1900 mm. You put a small sketch. There you mention a 1160 mm and 740 mm, so that it will be clear for everyone who is checking that. Then give you number of bars, any number of bars are there now here, how many numbers are there, 2 numbers are there, bar number 3, 2 numbers are there. So that you have to mention. So if any similar members are there, you have to mention that members also, so that you will be very clear about the calculations part. This is bar number 3. Next, I didn't go for the bar number 4. I went to the bar number 5 because the question is, but anyway, I will explain it. See, bar number 5, as you know, as I explained, whichever is LC1 or LC2, whichever is greater. Now we can see here 3 meter is the clear span for this and 4 meter is the clear span for this portion. So which is greater? 4 meter is the greater. So you have to take LC1 or LC2, whichever is greater, that is nothing but 0.3 times the 4 meter you have to consider. And this side also it is 0.3 times the 4 meter. So 0.3 into 4 plus other side also 0.3 into 4 meters or 4000 mm plus whatever the column width is there 300 mm. Here no cover nothing because inside the concrete only it is there. Both the side concrete is there, so cover nothing is there minus. Whereas if you are coming to the end bar, you are deduct the cover. But here it's inside the concrete must. There is no question of cover. So plus 300 I have taken as the column width. So it will be 1.2 meter on one side. Another side also is 1.2 meters. Then added the column width, that is nothing but the 300 mm. So total length will be 2.7 meters. So how many numbers? It's given here 3 numbers of 20 mm. So 3 numbers of 2.7 meter length you have to give as the top extra reinforcement in the continuous support. Next is the hanger bar. What is the hanger bar here? Given 2 numbers of 12 mm is given. So actually the shape is ulta, reverse here I have shown. What is the length of that? How you will calculate? Because already you have taken 1200 mm from this side, this reinforcement has come. And here from this side, how much it has come? 900 mm it has come. With your calculation earlier, what you have done? A is you have calculated already. So here 900 mm, here 1200 mm. So total length is 3 meters. Clear span is 3 meters. Out of 3 meters, you are deducted 900 mm. Another 1200 mm deducted. To add 150 mm for this lapping. This is not the development. This is just to lap one over the other. This is 150 mm mentioned here. Small 150 mm plus 150 mm you have to add. So total length will be 1200 mm. How many numbers? 2 numbers, 12 mm. So we have covered all the reinforcement 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All the things we have covered the main reinforcement in the beam. In addition to that, you have to calculate the stirrups. Both the sides is coming. The closure spacing that you have to calculate. Hope the details are very clear for you. This is all the very fundamental things what I have discussed. As and when you enter into the structures, you will get into a lot many structures like lift foundations, lift pits, shear walls. In the shear walls, so many ring combinations, so many things will come into the picture. But this is the fundamental. If you are very clear about these fundamental things, you can extend this philosophy to the other aspects also. So that will be making very clear BBS. So this is a very important and interesting subject. And you don't need very high scientific calculators or anything required like this. You just simple calculators or good Excel sheet will give you this variables. right now I am coming to the end of this presentation.